Dude, what are you talking about? You are a complete idiot. Dude, what are you talking about? Dude, what are you talking about? Dude, what are you talking about? You are a complete idiot. It's not an opinion.
Okay, so
It's a fact. You're an idiot. You're too fucking dumb to realize it, dude. You're fundamentally retarded and contradicting yourself at a fundamental level. You are a complete idiot. It's not an opinion.
Okay, so
It's a fact. You're an idiot. You're too fucking dumb to realize it, dude. You're fundamentally retarded and contradicting yourself at a fundamental level. You are a complete idiot.
Okay, well, the fact. Okay, well, the fact.
Dude, what are you talking about?
The fact. Okay, well, the fact.
You are a complete idiot.
The fact. Okay, well, the fact. The fact. Okay, well, the fact.
Dude, what are you talking about?
The fact. Okay, well, the fact.
You are a complete idiot. It's not an opinion.
okay, so
It's a fact. You're an idiot. You're too fucking dumb to realize it, dude. You're fundamentally retarded and contradicting yourself at a fundamental level. You are a complete idiot. It's not an opinion.
okay, so
It's a fact. You're an idiot. You're too fucking dumb to realize it, dude. You're fundamentally retarded and contradicting yourself at a fundamental level. You are a complete idiot. Dude, what are you talking about?
everyone, friends and foes, lurkers and regulars. Welcome to the Boiler Room. We're broadcasting live at alternatecurrentradio.com, Spreaker.com, and simulcasting out to the nerds at the J. Dyer YouTube channel. Welcome, everyone, to the show. It is May the 9th. I'm your host, Hesher. That's my call sign here at Alternate Current Radio. Thank you for joining us for our 225th live stream broadcast over here in the Social Rejects Club Roundtable, the NFL, the No Friends Left Zone. Welcome to the show. Tonight, I'm going to skip the housekeeping and get right into it. Well, we'll do a little bit of housekeeping, Spore. We'll just do a little bit of housekeeping. I'm going to pass it over to the lovely Spore before we do introductions so that we can thank our new sponsor. Right, Spore?
Yes, so Mallet and Mandrel, which will be linked into the show page.
Yes, and on last week's show page also.
Is our new sponsor. And if you are interested in pampering someone you love, you have to check out their website. I mean, it's all handmade jewelry, quality with hand-picked flowers from their own family's gardens, real wood, all eco-friendly, and a tree is planted for every purchase made. So please go check out Mallet and Mandrel. And if you do so and decide you want to purchase something, I mean, you still have some time for Mother's Day. We've got a few days left here. Enter the code ACR10 and you'll get 10% off. And this is like really beautiful artwork that is affordable and so unique and gorgeous.
Wearable artwork, yes. So Mother's Day, you might be able to make it in time for that. And they make really cool coin rings also. So whatever state you might be from or whatever state you might wish you're from, you can get a cool, I think they're made out of quarters, right?
Yeah,
you can get a quarter that's like somehow bent and shaped into a cool ring. I think those are probably a little more manly, but...
Yeah, a little more masculine. And yeah, those are, I mean, a lot of people really have some state pride. Those are really awesome, beautiful gifts for those people that you love where you're from. You want to afford it as your jewel. Yeah,
you know, and like coming from California, I have some morale patches, some California state morale patches. I always wear them upside down on my backpack to symbolize, you know, danger, red alert, California, you in trouble. So if you get a California ring, you can wear it upside down and make your subtle statement. Yeah, definitely. All right. Welcome to the show, everybody. As I said, this is the 225th edition of Boiler Room out here at alternatecurrentradio.com and Spreaker.com. And, of course, the podcast RSS is out to a number of fine podcasting platforms. And we're simulcasting at the J. Dyer YouTube tonight, and I guess that's a great time to bring Jay Dyer onto the show. Jay Dyer, welcome to Boiler Room. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing good. Keeping on, fighting, battling, doing everything I can, pleasing multiple audiences in many ways.
Yes, juggling those power-on chainsaws and those lit knives. Flaming knives, all that stuff. That's what we're doing around here.
I feel like Ash. I'm fighting demons on many fronts.
Yeah.
I'm like Ash.
Shout out to LB. LB makes really cool graphics for a lot of her favorite ACR shows.
With Ash versus
sometimes
Evil.
There's Ash versus Evil Dead in there. Definitely. Yeah, well, welcome to the show, Jay. It's great to have you on.
Go home and cry to mama.
That's right. Go ahead and run. I think we've ended almost every show with that sample. It's one of my favorite samples. It actually appeared at the end of one of my favorite death metal albums. That's kind of where I lifted that from. Of course, I mean, all Ash samples are pretty much awesome, but one of the most brutal death metal albums out there ends with that particular sample, so that's where I got inspired to throw that at the end of our show. But let's do this, you guys. Let's run some Boiler Room here. It's going to be a very non-structured show tonight, as I think all of us have been pretty busy So I think Spore's got an interesting icebreaker for us. I welcome Jay already. Jay, welcome again to the show. Spore, my lovely co-host, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's great to have you here. You're looking lovely as usual.
Well, thank you.
All right. So what are we going to wait, let me find the noise here. What are we going to break ice with tonight, Spore?
Okay, so this one came from Craig of Radiant Creators. And this is actually out there pretty big. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC, put a post up on Instagram this week when she discovered a garbage disposal.
For the first time.
For the first time in her kitchen.
In her swanky new Washington, D.C. kitchen.
Yeah, so I think we do have a audio clip of her discovery.
So this is the unedited version. I don't know if I've seen the unedited version yet.
One. I mean, I didn't get to listen to the whole thing, so it could be.
It looks a little long, but maybe we'll cut it off, or maybe we'll pause.
I kind of think the longer one might be better.
Maybe we'll pause for some lulls in the middle of it. I don't know. All right, this should pipe through to the Jay Dyer YouTube audience. Also, all right, Jay, check this out. This is exclusive, unedited, never before seen AOC garbage disposal clip.
I am told this is a garbage disposal. I've never seen a garbage disposal. I never had one in any place I've ever lived. It is terrifying. I don't know what to use it for or what its purpose is. Like food scraps? Like, is this environmentally sound? I don't know.
So, like, if this is environmentally sound, it could be like a really great place to put my policy proposals.
Okay, someone's clowning on that one. That's why this one's extra long. We've got a clowner there. That first up all the way up until my policy proposals was actually from AOC's post, and we'll put the original on the show notes so people can check that out. But yeah, there you go. There you have it, folks. That is the new generation of our Congress right there. Never had a garbage disposal, never seen a garbage disposal, and immediately wants to relate it to the Green New Deal, to environmentally sound, blah-de-blah. We had to do a bit of research to find out if it was even real when Craig sent it over, because I didn't even believe it. I was like, no, this is a troll. This has got to be a troll. But it's all over social media. That was actually posted to AOC's Instagram and maybe Twitter also. I don't know. I'll be sure and find all the links, put them on the show page. But yeah, there you go.
You know, it's one thing to not know what one is, but like to actually put a post up and show the whole world what an idiot you are. Why?
Wow.
I think it was all about virtue signaling the Green New Deal and, you know, environmental sound stuff, you know.
All right, well, I might have
that's interesting because my garbage disposal broke this week. So I'm serious. It's a weird bit of synchronicity, I guess. That's synchronicity.
Yeah,
that is weird.
Actually, it broke last week, but that's close enough. So,
yeah.
But I'm I'm speechless. You know, we've dealt with a lot of funny things over these 250s, however many zillion boiler rooms. We've seen many goofy things. I don't know that I've been speechless, and I think I am. I don't even know what to say. How? I mean, do we think this is staged? I mean, she's.
Well, I totally did, but you know what? I found out. I mean, I did like some research, and it's definitely her Instagram,
right.
And it's been on New York Post. I mean, it's been in like so many different articles. I mean, mainstream stuff that like it seems to me like really actually true. I initially thought like there's no way that this could be real. Like they used her Instagram, you know, icon and put this up, but no, it seems to be actually.
Yeah, I think I think this is the sign of the end of the world.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
It is.
it's apocalyptic. I think that these are the people that are going to be in charge. They're going to decide who lives and dies. Yeah, I think I'm going to start planning where to move in the world. I mean, I'm being tongue in cheek, but I'm being serious. But I'm not. But I am. So
Yeah.
this is who's going to rule us, and yeah, it's time to think about, maybe all them hotties in Moscow need my attention or something. Maybe that's how I'm thinking about it now.
Yeah, the exit plan is definitely something we're thinking about. I mean, we thought we were in trouble when we had neocons starting wars, like even if I don't even know if you can call them wars. It's more like just like subversion, destructive of other countries and faraway places and proxy wars and all that. But now this is what is moving into our House of Representatives. It's absolutely crazy. And like Spore, when Craig from Radiant Creators sent this over, I was like, no, this is a troll. This can't be real. Like, because there's a lot of AOC like clowning going on out there. Like, people don't take her seriously.
Wonder why.
Yeah, really. I know. It's totally understandable. But yeah, then you go to the New York Post and there it is. There's an article about it. The New York representative, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, is learning a lot of new things in Washington, including what a garbage disposal is. The 29-year-old freshman congresswoman posted photos and videos on Instagram showing the apparently, quote-unquote, terrifying contraption at her at work in her swanky D.C. apartment, and saying she'd never seen one before. And she said, okay, here's I think a comment, or I'm not sure if it was on the video or what, but it says, there's a quote from her. Okay, everyone, I need your help because I just moved into this apartment a few months ago, and I just flipped a switch, and it made that noise, and it scared the daylights out of me. I'm told this is a garbage disposal. I've never seen a garbage disposal. I've never had one in any place I've ever lived, she later said. So, confirmed this is real. She also said this D.C. apartment is bougie and has things I've never seen before. Is this what social mobility is? Using kitchen appliances you never saw growing up? And she also, you know how on Instagram you can put like some text over a video or whatever. She said, there is a monster living in my sink.
Yes.
Oh, my God. So this is where we're headed with politicians. We've gone straight from crazy neocons and crazy neoliberals to... And I mean, okay, in the comments, like, she's got some supporters out there, of course. There's people that say, oh, you know, she doesn't know that because she's AOC from the block and in the Bronx. You know, it's not common to have a garbage disposal, whatnot.
Bull.
I don't buy it.
No, I don't buy that. That's bullshit.
It's got to be, right?
Yeah.
Like, to think she's never been to a house that has one of those, or even TV, like never seen one on TV. I mean, I don't even think about it when I see someone using the garbage disposal on TV. There's probably, you know, dozens of scenes that we've all seen on TV or movies over the years of people using garbage disposals. Me, a horror movie fan, I've seen a lot of people, like, there's been some garbage disposal scenes, some gore scenes in horror movies. I mean, she doesn't seem like...
Okay, let's just play devil's advocate here for a second and say she's never seen one before. Why is she posting a video about this? Like, this is... Like, why is she letting the entire public know that she's never seen... I mean...
Because politicians are narcissists and they think that everybody needs to know what they're doing and cares and wants to know, and because they're important.
Yeah.
There is that, but there's also, I mean, if she's this Green New Deal lady, this climate person, like, garbage disposals are actually really good for the environment because they're disposing of organic waste in a way that's not just being stuffed in your garbage can and put in a landfill. You know, it's like, it's actually a good thing for the environment.
She wants to put humans in garbage disposals. That's what's crazy about her. She reminds me of that. It's like the guy Tristan had on this week. I listened to his whole show where he was trying to reason with plant-based news. the one of these vegan propagandists, and I commend Tristan for his patience with this guy, and I think he did really well. The guy was more reasonable than I would have expected him to be. But what I got from that conversation was this same mindset. These people are almost incapable of critical thought and questioning their own propaganda and presuppositions. And so Tristan sort of masterfully navigated that tossed sea of nightmare landscapes that these people have in their heads. How do you try to reason with these lunatics? But he did pretty good. But what I came away with from that chat that Tristan did with that plant-based news guy was that he's just like AOC. Like they are in a cult. I know we've said that many times. The cult analogy is overused, but I can't think of a better one. And these are the people who the system wants to put in charge of deciding who lives and dies. Bill Gates talks about the death panels, right? We've talked about Bill Gates before, and Bill Gates apologists always come in and they try to argue and defend him. And, like we said, he's not your friend. He's not there for you. None of these people are there for you. They want death panels. Bill Gates says, well, you're not supposed to talk about death panels, right? Meaning that we should, because it's rational. Well, if we kill grandma, we can have 10 more teachers, but you're not supposed to have that conversation because that's death panels.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Now, these are all on the same team. They're all on the same team. And by the way, I'll bet you that now that I think about it, the garbage disposal thing, I'll bet you it has something to do, I'm just speculating here, maybe down the road this has to do with codes and code violations, and because like, for example, in Florida, what they're already trying to do with the water and power and light is they send you these annoying emails and messages telling you how to cut down on your consumption and how you're bad and how there needs to be all these why don't you upgrade to this electronic AI thing that will curb your overuse of energy, right? All this nonsense, which the energy is renewable. We pay for it. It's not like this limited source that's running out. This is so stupid. But that's how they try to train everybody into this, like limited resource based mindset, this Malthusian nonsense, basically, right? That like all of Florida is on one giant battery and it's the apocalypse, and everybody who's using Florida's resources is draining the battery, right? And once the battery gets down to zero, it's all going to be the apocalypse, and we're not going to have water and air and oxygen and food. And that's the exact same thing that they do with all the green stuff. All the humans we're breathing all this CO2, and it's going to kill Mother Earth, and we're all depleting Gaia's battery. That's literally how they try to argue it. So I'll bet you this garbage disposal nonsense is maybe prepping for, wait a minute, the water. If you stay in hotels, they already do this in hotels, that they have all these green policies, not laws, but policies in all the hotels. Have you noticed this? I've noticed it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Please don't use more than one towel. Please don't if you can take a shower, don't take a bath. Please do this. Please don't do that. Please use one ply of toilet paper, like Sheryl Crow said, right? Wipe your ass with your hand, basically, because your fingers will bleed through any single ply toilet paper that you're trying to use. Right?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I've used to spend a lot of time in hotels, and I always thought it was weird because they didn't used to do this, but sometime in the last decade or so, it turned into a thing where if you want your towels washed, you have to throw them on the floor. So if you take a shower and use it, or a bath or whatever, and you use a towel in a hotel and you don't throw it on the floor,
yes,
they will leave it there.
Mm-hmm.
Creepy.
By the way,
so.
Somebody in the chat said renewable energy is a sham. Yeah, I know it's renewable. I know renewable energy is part of the sustainable scam. What I was talking about was the fact that like the normal sources of water, we're not going to run out of water. Okay, water is renewable in the sense of nature renews it. we're not going to deplete Florida's water supply. That's retarded.
Right.
But that's how
Yeah,
that's how
it's-
they say it. That's how they like these emails that they send you. Like every other day, they're like, "Are you over consuming?" And it's always in this tone of humans are bad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I mean, it's a thing that's been going on since I was little in California, where you're not supposed to flush
Right.
the
right.
bathroom if you go pee, but you should do if you're doing number two. But it's like it's gotten, I mean, so out of hand that I've been in people's houses where it's like you walk in their house and it smells like piss. It's disgusting. It's like
And it's all for the planet. They're like totally
Yeah.
like brain hosed into this thing where it's like, okay, if it's yellow, I'll let it mellow.
Yes, if it's
I'm not
yellow,
going to
let it
wash
out.
my car. Their car is out there. The paint is peeling off the car because they refuse to wash the car because they think they're saving the planet.
Mhm.
Yet at the same time, the state is taking all of the water from the
Sending
Sierra
it to
Nevada
Nestle.
foothills and taking it south, taking it hundreds of miles south and letting Nestle bottle it.
yeah, the almond.
Yeah, letting Nestle bottle it and sell it to people in gas stations, and they're letting Blue Diamond and all these, almond farms take buttloads of water and water all these almonds, which they then don't even treat like food. They pasteurize these almonds, which do nothing but rot. You can't even use them like a normal almond. You can't sprout them or anything like that. And then they sell them off to Canada and China, 85% of them. So it's like, all the plebeians are supposed,
If
I'm
it's yellow, let it mellow.
yeah,
If
I'm
it's
just gonna
brown,
live
flush
around
it
in a
down.
pissy house and not care about any of this. And they do this. It's the same crap they did with gas. They tried to call fuel fossil fuel. There's still people out there calling gasoline fossil fuel. I think I heard Joe Rogan use that one the other day. It was
Yeah,
just like,
it's
dude,
not dinosaur juice, by the way.
Yeah,
Exactly.
We're running out of dinosaur juice.
Yeah.
The planet. Let's use lithium batteries instead.
These are the
Yes.
experts, right?
Really
These are
great
the
about
experts.
Yeah, the experts are telling us this. Go ahead, Sport.
Right. Oh, I was just going to say the thing that people should be really concerned about right now is the way that they're actually hiking up the prices of water and making the average citizen pay more and more for a gallon of water from flushing the toilet.
Yeah, and they're trying to legislate it such that water is not a human right. They're trying to say, water,
It's a commodity now.
like the one thing that a human will die without in a matter of, what is it, like 7 days or something, or less even.
Less than, yeah, I did.
That is not your right. So the one, the major thing you need to stay alive is not your right to have as a human on this planet. Although Nestle can have all they want for free and charge you, $4 for a tiny bottle of it and give you a bunch of BPH in the process, bisphenol, and, sterilize you and all this other stuff, which is great, because people that buy into this stuff, they love being sterilized. They love the idea of everyone else being sterilized. A lot of them are self-sterilizing on purpose, because of this whole friggin' thing, this whole agenda, which is just getting dumber and dumber and dumber. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
I had an idea. The e-thoughts and the cam girls, they could all bottle their bath water and sell it, and all of the beta orbiters that they have that send them their money, they could drink the bath water, and I bet
There you go.
many of them would like it, and it would be clean and green from the.
I don't know if it'd be
it
clean.
would be green from the vajayjay funk that they got, but.
Yeah.
It could work. That's one healthy idea. We could all have communal toilets, like in dorms. Actually, that's what it'll be when we are living inside the Target, Walmart city that we live in. We'll have communal hosieries where they hose you down.
Right. Yeah, and we could just like take all that runoff and then have everybody drink it. So
Yes, process
you
it
can't-
or not,
Right.
or don't process it. You just kind of have it.
Yeah, or just don't. It's fine. It's yellow. It'll mellow. Yes, you can all shower in it. It's fine. It's madness. It's total madness. And, like we've talked about this a few times, but looking at the the youth movements here is just totally crazy. The way they're like, it's so stupid. And I don't like saying like, oh, this generation is screwed or that generation is screwed. We're all screwed in our own ways, and it has to do with the propaganda of our times. And when we were trying to figure this out with Craig from Radiant Creators, I was like, is this true? You know, like before we were able to verify this was actually AOC like saying this about her garbage disposal. He was noting like he works in some situations sometimes, and he was talking about young people, and he was talking about how difficult, like how some of them struggle to get through the day and how emotions overwhelm them, and like the range of emotions is like manic, you know, and they're like on the verge of crying oftentimes, and then it'll go from like on the verge of crying to like overly happy, and like they a lot of people, young people especially, that are exposed to this kind of propaganda and buy into it can't really express like their reactions to things because they're so just like stunted emotionally and intellectually, like in that age range between 8 and 12. And he even dropped us a video where an entire classroom applauds as one of their peers figures out how to open a can.
Have you seen this one, Jay?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I have the audio. I don't know if it's...
Am I this out of touch that I don't even understand that it's this bad? I'm serious. It's time to start thinking about moving away, man. This is getting crazy. This is getting apocalyptic. Dude. You're not joking.
Yeah. I'm not kidding. I have the audio.
It's worth it, honestly. You really have to see the look on these people's faces. They're like teenagers, young teenagers, and if they're acting like these are the best acting teenagers.
So it's idiocracy then.
Yeah.
Totally. 100%. It's like a minute and a half it takes this girl to open a can.
It's garbage pail kids in the idiocracy.
Yeah, a tin can with a can opener, and people literally applaud. I mean, the entire room is just like blown away that she has figured out how to do this.
Remember back in like 2010, 2011, or even Y2K, when we were, you know, a lot of us out here were like, oh my God, you know, we're going to have an apocalypse, the Mayan calendar's going to end, or, you know, the Y2K is going to happen, and all the airplanes are going to fall out of the sky, and we're all buying canned foods, you know? And of course, that didn't happen, but imagine an apocalypse.
Maybe we were just too early. Maybe we were just a little too early.
Yeah, totally. I'm gonna try to play this audio. Maybe it's gonna be crap, but I mean, check this out. Yeah, you can throw it up on your screen there, Jay, and we'll put it in the chat room too, and I'll put it on the show page tonight. So
I'm immediately thinking of hipsters here, so I'm throwing up all these hipster pictures.
There's definitely a couple hipster kids in this classroom. Okay. Let's see what this sounds like. Oh, I gotta unmute. All right, this kid's trying to open a can, and
it's like a crowd of kids.
There's like 30 kids in here watching. He's having to use. He looks like he needs 4 hands to do this.
Is that he or she? I don't know.
Oh, maybe it's a girl.
Z.
They? Should we say they?
I don't know. It's only one person, so they doesn't.
That's not good English.
Oh.
Oh my gosh.
Broken in.
I think it opened. Hold on. What do you do with it now? Can you imagine these kids in an apocalypse? Oh, the can started spinning, and she had to start over. She was like, what's happening here? How do I get into this spaghetti? She's trying to twist it both ways.
It is a SpaghettiOs of some sort.
Some SpaghettiOs. All right.
Mm-hmm. She's doing it.
Okay, she's got it. She's about halfway around the can now. You're right. It's not very good radio audio, but we'll narrate for it.
Up.
Oh.
Can opener is down on the table.
She took the can opener off a little early. She's gonna cut herself. Oh my God.
No, she did. She without.
There are photographs being taken. People have their cell phones out. Like, I mean, it is like she just broke into an Egyptian tomb or something like that.
They're very impressed.
So we're talking about like a can opener, like a twist old school can opener. You're not talking about like
Yeah.
popping open a Coke can or
Right.
something. Okay.
Yeah, the analog kind.
Wow.
Amazing. We're in deep trouble, you guys.
Yeah, these are the people that are going to be taking care of us.
We're in
until
deep
we-
trouble. Oh boy, Lord help us if we ever get old.
Yeah.
And if these are the people running,
I
the,
might just go ahead and
old people's
submit to
home-
the death panel. I mean, it's like you might as well, because this kind of person is not going to be able to take care of you.
It is a.
Might as well
you know,
just-
you're right.
Like Logan's
Yeah,
Run when they float off into that giant jewel and burn up.
Yeah, seriously, man. Like I have a millennial friend on one of my social media accounts, and I noticed last week or so there was you know how people post like a text conversation sometimes. They'll take a screenshot of a text roll they're having with someone. She posted a text roll that she was in with her dad. I know she would never listen to this show. If she does, I'm sure I'd hear about saying this on air. We're not going to name any names or anything like that. Spore probably knows who I'm talking about, or she will by the end of this story. But she was posting a text roll she was having with her dad, and they were talking. Her dad's a doctor, by the way, and he's a doctor that had her put on antidepressants, antipsychotics, and like I think there was at least five hardcore drugs that she'd been on since she was 12 years old. She's 30 something now, and so having a conversation about somebody that was aging with her dad and her sister. It was like a family group text. Yeah. And they were talking about someone who was suffering because they were old, you know, or I don't remember what exactly was going on, but they're getting old, they're suffering. And the dad said, I'm not doing that. I don't, you know what I mean? Like they're like lamenting this person's suffering, but like internalizing it. And he was basically saying, it's California law that you can commit suicide if you're suffering, and like, do that to me. Like, I can't wait, you know, like I'm not going to get old and suffer. I just want to be death paneled, basically. And like both his daughters were just, you know, all thumbs up. Everybody thinks that's cool.
You got it, Dad. We're putting you down.
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
Wow.
great. You know, and it's just like, why? Like the mindset to even go there, you know, with a healthy parent and, you know, not even middle-aged kids, and have that as a back and forth, and to like, you know, hoorah California with their assisted suicide stuff. And I don't know, the whole thing I just thought was like, wow, that is really creepy and messed up.
Yes, it reminds me of the skits where Sam Hyde is on Williamsburg Street. Those are funny because they're interviewing hipsters. Williamsburg Street Fashion, there's 3 of those. They got a bunch of views. And when I first saw this, I was like, what is this? I don't understand what this video is. Who are these goofuses, and why would they? Then I realized this is like the hipster capital. So they're at like, I guess it's somewhere in New York, Brooklyn or somewhere.
Yeah, Brooklyn. Williamsburg is in Brooklyn.
Oh, okay, yeah. So they're interviewing the heart of hipsterdom, and the interviews are, wow. I mean, they're like, these people are sick-tarded, as the video says.
Sick-tarded.
Yeah, they're.
No, yeah. If you take a subway into Williamsburg and get off the subway, it is like walking into a fashion magazine. It is like the most hipsterish part. You know, it's like a regentrified part of Brooklyn that's just like, it's everybody's a DJ and a fashion model.
That's exactly
and like,
what every person that he interviews says. Exactly.
It's crazy.
They're all influencers.
Oh yeah.
Yes. And they are complete idiots. It's awesome.
Unreal. Yeah, we're in big trouble.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It is not going to be cool at the old folks home. Like, people got complaints about old folks homes right now. Wait till you've got people in the old folks home running it that don't know what a garbage disposal is. Or who want to let you die, because you're a useless eater now. I mean, it's much worse than garbage disposals, because it's like like Jay was saying, there is a cult-like factor here, and we're not joking when we say it's a death cult, because that's exactly what's going on. I mean, these people, not only are they willing to not have families, not have intimacy in their lives, not have relationships, not seek information and knowledge, they're willing to kill unborn babies. They're willing to kill even 2-year-old babies. From what I'm hearing, I still have a hard time even voicing that. That's such a disgusting thought. And they also are down to kill themselves when they get to a certain age, or kill the old people in their families when they get to a certain age.
Cult. It's a death cult. I just read a dude's book, a really good book, which is not published yet, but really cool. Bayes dude sent me his book. I read it. I'm not going to say what it is because it's not published yet, but he wrote a book basically on the death cult and its influence through pop culture and the eco movement and the UN and all this stuff. And it was super duper well cited, well documented, super scholarly. It's going to be awesome when it's published. He and I are going to be doing some interviews because it's really good. But what he showed was that this whole idea of death cult, it's not just hyperbole or a loose connection, like linking it back to Aztecs, and stuff like that, where Aztecs sacrifice people. We've heard this kind of link, He actually shows it. He shows there's a real direct kind of spiritual link to when cultures really degenerate and the people adopt a self-destructive worship of death. There's a serious pattern in history. It's not just accident, and it's a recurring pattern, and it's real. It's kind of hard to it's so shocking that it's hard to believe.
Yeah,
but
right. It's like Caligula age, it's just this is the end times. This is the decline of a once great society.
Yeah, even if it's not the end of the world, it can still be a civilizational end.
Right.
And I think I've really kind of been shaken, I guess you could say, by the fact that the death cult can be so so real. I don't know how else to put it. That so many people can kind of, in a way, unknowingly just kind of unite themselves to this spirit, so to speak. And I think it is a spirit, a kind of. I'm not saying it's everybody who doesn't believe in my religion is immediately possessed. I'm not saying that. That would be extreme. What I'm saying is that if you don't have, a respect for life, if you don't have a belief in something like the sanctity of life, then what tends to happen is you develop this kind of. At first, I think it kind of starts as an attempt to worship two principles, life and death, and you kind of think, oh, well, life is good, so is death. They're both equal. But then it seems to kind of take a darker turn over time, and people kind of end up worshiping the death.
Right.
I mean, this is all in all the metal bands, I'm not saying they all worship death. I'm saying that they talk about this quite often in the music.
Totally, dude. Yeah. Yoda Bites, just in our chat room, when we were talking about this, I was actually thinking about this album, and he put the album cover in there. He must have been reading my mind or something. There's a Norwegian black metal band called Dimmu Borgir, and they have an album they did, one of their, I guess it's about a decade old now, but it's called Death Cult Armageddon. Mm-hmm. And, I can't speak to the lyrical content or anything. I just know the title of the album. But I mean, that's what we're talking about here. And it's weird because just like you were saying, there's this point where you're like, and I remember kind of thinking like having this like meme in my head when I was a bit younger, like, oh well, circle of life, whatever, like stuff sucks. It's just circle of life.
Yeah,
but
me too,
but
sure.
now we've like transcended that whole era where it was sort of on the fence, and now it's just like people are worshiping death and think that humans are that whole like Matrix, that line from the Matrix where it's like humans are a virus in tennis shoes, and
Yes.
everything else is more important than humanity.
So yeah, there was this show that I might have forced you to watch part of it with me, Hesher, and it's not something I would recommend to anybody because it's horrible. Frankie and Grace on Netflix. The first season was kind of funny. It's like these old ladies.
Old ladies doing peyote is always
Yeah,
funny.
it was kind of funny. But like as the seasons went on, there was one episode where this woman was sick and they decided to throw her a death party before she committed suicide. So, I mean, it was literally like a birthday party or something like that. This big party and like, okay, tomorrow's your death day. And then she kills herself. And it was like celebrated. It was diabolical.
Let me say,
And
too, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just going to say that as I was looking at the death cult, I came across this book. I've not read this book, but it looks interesting, and it's at a site that I have read a lot of the articles from because I cited it in my treatment of Black Dahlia, which is the Saturn Death Cult website. But apparently the guy who does that, and again, I can't speak to this author, I haven't read him, but the book looks interesting. It's called Saturn Death Cult by Troy McLaughlin, the link between planetary catastrophes, ancient myths, and occult ritual. I think there's probably something to that. I know that what he wrote about the Black Dahlia was pretty good. So again, I can't speak to Troy McLaughlin's worldview, but I bet you there's some insights here because what he wrote on Black Dahlia was pretty interesting.
Right. Yeah, I remember we talked about Black Dahlia a couple times on the show. That one's always crazy, and it's still like romanticized. They're still doing TV shows about it and all that. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just crazy.
Well, and there is a connection between Saturn. I don't believe that Saturn is. Some people say, "Oh, Saturn is the god of the Bible." I don't think that the biblical God consistently forbids human sacrifice. So. But there is a history of human sacrifice being linked to Saturn worship. There's absolutely no doubting that. So sometimes the people that talk about the Saturn cube and all this kind of, they go a little too far with it, but they're not totally wrong. There is a connection between like the cube altar and the cube in esotericism and the black cube. That's, by the way, why it's Clive Barker has Pinhead having a cube. That's part of the reason why. That's actually in the mythology, because there is a connection between Saturn and death and the black cube.
Right. Yeah, I remember. Oh man, it's been too long for me to remember the details, but I remember coming across some of the esoteric backgrounds behind the lament configuration, which is the cube in The Hellbound Heart by Clive Barker, which eventually became Hellraiser. And it's pretty crazy. Like it's not just a totally made up set of esoterics they're using.
No,
there.
and there's actually right.
That.
There are actual sites in the world that do promote the black cube. Let's see. There's the cube at Santa Ana. There's the giant cube at Manhattan, the giant black cube in Australia and Denmark. This is a very real thing. It's not. This may sound crazy to people, but I'm not making it up. It does exist, and I think it's intentional. It's not accidental. Oh, we just happen to have these giant black cubes set up in these different locations. Now, again, some of the internet conspiracy world goes crazy with it, and they go way overboard, but it's not completely without basis.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it, but if I can find that website that was talking about the origin of the lament configuration. I'll put it on tonight's show page. But it's a real thing there, definitely. And if you haven't seen Hellraiser or read Clive Barker's book and you're strong of will, it's an interesting one to add to this topic for sure. It's more than just some creepy demons that Clive Barker came up with.
Somebody has an image of it, the demon cube of Saturn.
There you go.
Remember that movie, The
Puzzle.
Cube? That was pretty crazy too. Did you see that? It was an independent movie. Remember that? The Cube.
Was that the one where they were stuck? Like,
yes.
Is that with Jennifer Lopez?
No,
that's the cell.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Which is also very interesting and full of esoteric weirdness.
Yeah, that made it into Esoteric Hollywood 2, which you can get signed copies of Jay's Analysis, by the way.
That's right.
But, yes, the Black Cube does have an esoteric relevance. It's not all gobbledygook. There is some reality there.
Absolutely. Yeah, The Cube was a trippy movie. I remember watching that with my friend Todd back at his apartment. It came out in 97, and it's about 6 people that wake up to find themselves in a giant cube filled with thousands of possible rooms, and each person has a skill that becomes clear. And there's like a cop and a mathematician and a building designer, architect or something, and a doctor and a disabled dude, and they all have to like figure out how to escape this cube, and it's kind of like a hell that they wake up in. Basically,
Exactly.
It's like
Right.
like an escape room meets Hellraiser.
Let me see what what it says about the lament configuration, because actually Clive Barker is to some degree interested in the occult and esoteric. Let me see what it says about it.
Yeah, very much
Pinhead
so.
first appears in the novella Hellbound Heart, which he only appears at the story's beginning as a sexually ambiguous follower of the engineer. Its voice, unlike its companion, was light and breathy, the voice of an excited girl. Every inch of his head was tattooed with an intricate grid, and at every intersection of the horizontal and vertical axes, a jeweled pin is okay. So that's about his head. What I want to know about the that's not about the lament configuration. Let's see. Anyway.
Yeah,
I thought this was talking
trippy.
about the thing. It's not. It's talking about the pinhead. Sorry.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking at it too,
Here
and
we
it's
go. Here we go. Here's the Hellraiser official fan site. It says. Did you look at that one?
I'm looking at
puzzle
some site
box.
called Secret Bases wiki/lament configuration. Yeah, go ahead. What do you got?
It's a puzzle box which features prominently throughout the Hellraiser series. It was designed by Simon Sace. Blah blah blah. It's a key to a doorway. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. It opens doorways. That's right. By the way, that's the boxes like this are in David Lynch too. There's the puzzle box in Twin Peaks and in Mulholland Drive.
Right.
It opens up a doorway to another dimension or plane of existence. Yes, the solution to the puzzle creates a bridge through which beings may travel in either direction across the schism. The inhabitants of these other realms are typically demonic. An ongoing debate in the film series is whether the realm accessed by the lament configuration is intended to be actual hell or some other dimension. So it's a fictional person that's created it. He appears in the Hellraiser comic books. Blah 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 blah. Yeah. So it's an 18th century. This is the legend behind it. An aristocrat named the Duke de Lisle, who is obsessed with dark sorcery. He kills a woman and does some rituals and summons a dark demon named Angelique, who comes into the woman's skin, blah, 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 blah. And then she, I guess, teaches him how to make this thing or something. So And then it gets into Bloodlines. Interesting. So there's all this Bloodline stuff. And I've never really followed Clive Barker. And I mean, I watched the movies and stuff, but so I don't really know the Barker lore. But it does sound interesting.
Yeah, Barker. He brings it to life with this character Frank Cotton, who is like a hedonist who's devoted his life to, like the pursuit of ultimate sensual experiences. And
is this the dude in part 2, or part 3, the crappy movie where he's like the guy who's just trying to get chicks, and he's got this big artwork in his bedroom?
That's the knockoff version of Frank. Frank really shows up in episode 2 in Hellraiser 2.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets the box and opens it, and the demons cross the other side,
mm-hmm.
and they tear him apart basically. But his essence lives on in the house where it happened, and if like his niece or someone like that somehow brings the puzzle box back into the room where this all happened, and plays with the box and opens it, and the demons, the Cenobites in Barker's story, come through and try to take her soul to hell. But really what happens is her aunt or her stepmom, I think it's her stepmom actually, who had like some sort of carnal tryst with the uncle who had been torn apart, brings him back to life. Like she's able to figure out how to bring him, like he's able to communicate with her and tell her how to bring him back from the other side, and she has to do it by murdering people. I mean, it's total like just sadomasochistic crazy shit, but yeah, it's nuts, man. And the books are even crazier than the movies. Like Barker he's got a very interesting mind. That guy definitely has delved really deep.
Weird, creepy stuff. Yeah. The first one is, I mean, it's kind of gross. I wouldn't necessarily recommend the movie, but as a movie, it's kind of funny and entertaining. Second one was not as good, and then the third one is, oh man, the third one is terrible. It was so bad.
The Hellraiser series?
Yeah.
I like the second one. The second one is my favorite. The first one is pretty grim. The second one is my favorite, and then the third one, it really starts to go downhill.
Maybe I'm wrong. So what happens in the second one? The first one is just upstairs, and somebody's getting like resurrected, right? And they're kind of being re-put together, and it's really John Carpenter gooey type stuff. Is that the first one?
That's actually the second one. The third one's the one with the Cenobite that like shoots CDs out of his face.
Yeah, that one's dumb. It's the third one with the guy who's got the big totem pole skin thing in his bedroom where he's trying to get laid, right? That's the third one, right?
Yeah, that's Uncle Frank. It definitely.
What happens in the first one?
Hellbound, Hellraiser 2. I guess that's 1988.
So what happens in the first one? I don't remember that one.
I am not sure because part 2 is my favorite, and I've seen it a bunch of times in part 1. It's kind of maybe I'm wrong, but I think like it's sort of like Evil Dead 1 and 2, where it's like they did sort of a low budget version for the first one, and then it took off, and they got a higher budget and sort of repackaged it for part 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. Hey, it looks like we've got Tristan from Primal Edge Health on the line. Tristan, welcome to the Boiler Room. How you doing?
What's up, guys? Is my mic clear today? Is it working?
Sounding good.
All right. Nice to be here. So I was cutting in a little bit in and out last time and got kicked off my internet 3 times during the last broadcast, and I just gave up. But I'm going to stick it out this time. I think I'll make it.
We have such things to show you.
Yeah, you guys talking about Hellraiser. I've never seen any of the Hellraiser movies somehow. I know what the guy looks like. I know the aesthetic.
Sorry. We have such sights to show you. And sights. Excuse me. I got it wrong.
We'll tear your soul apart.
I'm going to go back and watch the first Hellraiser now. I've got to.
1 and 2 are the good stuff. Everything from then, like if you can hang through 1 and 2 and you like the characters and you don't mind a lot of cheese whiz in your horror movies, you can make it through like 3, 4, 5, and 6. But it's all about 1 and 2.
I feel like I've seen the end of one of those films, and they throw there's like this esoteric cube thing. They throw it in a fire or something like that in one of these films.
Yeah.
I don't know. I might have seen glimpses of Hellraiser. I don't remember the grand narrative.
Well, you already live in Hell World now. We all live in Hellraiser world. It's all come real. Someone has opened the Lament Cube, and it's all come into our dimension. So you're gonna be like, okay, that's not really that scary anymore because it's all here. I'm serious. I'm kind of serious.
Nothing's as frightening as Hillary Clinton. Like, there's no film that can be as frightening as the Clinton family.
Who would win in a fight between Hillary and Pinhead?
Pinhead for sure. He's a man. Come on. I'm kidding. I'm on her team. What are you talking about, guys? I'm on her team.
Oh my God, are you saying that there's an equivalence between a man's body and a woman's?
No, they're exactly the same. Just go through your drive-in dick installation center and you're all good.
But couldn't she just win from like woman power?
What if Hillary Clinton identified as a Cenobite?
Ooh.
I think she has a good chance of being recruited into Pinhead's crew. I think she would be the first round draft pick for the Cenobite crew.
I think you're right.
And
yeah, Tatterbox, look out! Hillary Clinton's on the way.
Is Hellraiser John Carpenter?
No, Clive Barker.
Okay.
Yeah, Clive Barker. I read a lot of his stuff a long time ago, like back when I was reading H.P. Lovecraft and Stephen King and all that stuff. And he has some interesting stuff. He actually did a fairy tale book once that I really enjoyed. I don't know if I would still enjoy it, but at the time I thought it was really cool. He's a pretty interesting writer.
I would like to add too, as some people in the chat have commented, yes, it does have similarities to the Monolith in 2001. So you can link the cube to the Monolith because they are both very similar. They have a rectangle is a kind of a cube. So I do think there's a connection between the Monolith in 2001 and the Black Cube worship that seems to go on around the world. And I do think in the Avengers, it's a tesseract for a reason. Yes, they are trying to tap into the energy of higher dimensions. That is quite literally. I mean, I'm not saying they've necessarily done that, but I think that that's in Avengers for a reason. And if you've read Jay's analysis over the years, you know that we've talked a lot about tesseracts and dimensions and things like that. So there is something to this. This is not complete gobbledygook. It's not complete gibberish. There is a real interest in trying to tap into the energy of higher dimensions and these kinds of reality. I'm not saying CERN has done that. I'm not saying any of that's true. I'm just saying that they do have that interest. How far they've gotten is anybody's guess, but I do think there's something to it.
Yeah, good point. And then, as we've mentioned before, the smartphone worship. You know, we're all sort of holding some sort of lament configuration or tesseract in our pockets these days.
By the way,
a monolith in your pocket right there. It's
exactly.
like the smartphone looks and is shaped exactly like the monolith in 2001.
Exactly. And if you've read Hoffman's Secret Society of Psychological Warfare, you know that he highlighted that right after 2001, a mysterious monolith was just erected, much like the mysterious Georgia Guidestones were erected. And
Yeah, you're right. It was right there in the center of the buildings, right? In the courtyard.
I don't have my copy available, but
I remember I've seen pictures of it. One can look up photographs of it.
There is they have erected a monolith at Ground Zero. It could be that. Anybody in the chat, do you remember the monolith that Hoffman references where that is? It was erected right after 2001, and he was making the point that Kubrick's 2001, hint hint, Space Odyssey, right? This is it. It's called the Millennium Hilton in Manhattan. Yes, right after or right before 9/11. Wow. Yeah, look at. Well, no, wait a minute. That's not the. It's on the cover of the book. There's a there's a monolith on the cover of the book that was erected right after 9. Here it is. Monolith, a big giant monolith appears at Magnuson Park, Seattle, right before 2001. Whoa, dude, that's crazy.
What?
Yeah.
What is that?
And
Yeah,
then,
exactly.
And then right after 9/11, the Millennium Hilton was built, and it looks just like the 2001 monolith. That's pretty crazy.
Which also, like a big screen television also looks like a monolith on its side.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Let's see.
Crazy.
I'll show you the picture of this thing here. Put this up for everybody. So there's the Hilton monolith built right after, and then here is the Seattle Park monolith cube. And remember, I don't know who did put these up. I don't know if anybody knows. Somebody may know, but I think Aaron and Melissa did a good video on the Georgia Guidestones. If you haven't seen their video, check it out. But there's definitely something to this, and the Georgia Guidestones were put up by who knows? Nobody knows. Mysterious, monoliths that get put up that say, "Oh, let's kill everybody."
There's a lot of Freemasonic allusions in the Georgia Guidestones too.
Right. Good point.
And the guy, it says a guy named R.C. Christian made it. R.C. Christian is the name.
Right.
But I mean, it could be kind of an anagram for Rosicrucian.
Rosicrucian.
People say
Exactly. Rosencrantz. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Christian Rosencrantz.
So, yeah, this is maybe a realm where people think I go too far, but I do believe these are erected for a purpose, and they're not erected accidentally. There are secret societies and groups that put these up, and they have a significance. So.
Yeah, I don't know, Jay. I watched Neil deGrasse Tyson, and that guy says it's all just like random, dude.
Yeah,
just
dude.
random.
But like everything's random.
Everything's just random. It's all just
Everything is
random.
random.
And it's like when something happens, you could just say, "That's so random." So random. Oh my god.
Yeah, and it's like with the regards to the Georgia Guidestones, it's one of those things where it's so in your face and unbelievable. Like a lot of people will just go, "Oh, that's totally unbelievable. That's nothing. Never mind. That's a big nothing." But it's almost like a multi-purpose thing in the sense that, hold on a second, I'm getting a call here. Merge call. Let me see if I'm trying to get Randy J on the call. I'm having issues here because he's a new account. What the hell?
Wasn't there a new stone that showed up over the last few years at the Georgia Guidestone? Like a new addition
Really?
to the monument, and nobody saw it installed, but it suddenly showed up.
I don't know
It
about
was
that.
installed during the night or some strange story like
What
that. I'm
did
gonna
it
look this
say?
up. I gotta
see.
look it up and see. I think
I'm
there was something else added to it.
Strange new 2014 addition to the Georgia Guidestones. Let's see what it says.
New 5 years ago again. That's so old.
It's still new,
5
though.
years ago.
I didn't know,
2014?
I didn't know this.
Dude, I don't even know who was president back then, man.
Ooh, there's a weird. Ooh, they stuck a cornerstone up in it.
Cryptic?
There's
Like a
yeah, at the
Yeah, that's a big one. The cornerstone.
Yeah, they
You know,
stuck
what
a
was the cornerstone in
cornerstone.
2014? How is
yeah.
what is that?
I don't know. That's pretty crazy. I didn't know that.
I
Sounds
hadn't
like you're
heard
talking
that
about the Temple Mount.
Oh, there he is.
There's Randy J. What's up, Randy J? Welcome.
Wow, this technology is amazing. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, you sound great
They
this week.
Sound good.
Yeah, I figured out a couple interwebs things.
You're
and
no
all.
longer talking into a can to us through a
No more
Through a
tin
string-
cans and string.
a string and a can.
He upgraded to a 32-ounce can.
Yeah, he's talking into a liter of Bubba Cola.
The tall boy.
A 50-gallon drum and some rope.
We're talking about the Georgia Guidestones, Randy.
So the
Did you
new
know there was a new one, Randy?
the new addition
I
is
did
a
not.
cornerstone that you see there at the top of the thing that says 2014. So you would think like somebody would catch somebody, you know, putting a damn brick. Like it looks like it took some work to stick this brick in there. So
Yeah, really. Where are we got people out there ghost hunting and filming all this random crazy stuff. Where's the person that's got the live cam on the Georgia Guidestones?
Yeah, really.
That's a great point, Hesher.
That'd be a cool place to have a live cam set up. Like, let's stop whoever's doing this or catch whoever's doing this. Finally figure out who put up the Georgia Guidestones, and let's put up some like hunter cams around the Georgia Guidestones and figure out who's maintaining these things, who's adding cornerstones to them every few years. Like, let's put these people on blast.
Good point. And has anybody? Do you guys remember Aaron and Melissa's video? Did they posit who it was?
It's been a while since I watched that one. I can't remember. I will throw it on the show page, though, if anyone hasn't seen it. I don't think there's such a thing as a bad Aaron and Melissa video. They're always good.
They're always like mega high quality.
Yeah.
So they did two. They've got one in 2014 when it was updated. They did a video, and then they've got another one in 2017 that they did. So there's two True Stream videos on it.
Yoda in our chat room says that the Guidestones are surrounded by cameras already. Well, so's the Pentagon, but I get to see the plane hit it.
Right. Yeah, exactly right. So, wow, they got
What is that? I wonder what that slot is on that other Guidestone there that you got pulled up on your channel, Jay. It looks like you can put a zip drive into the Georgia Guidestone there.
A zip drive.
It's a USB.
It's a
33.
No, it's a floppy disk. That's where you stick your giant floppy disk in there. Let's see what it is.
Stick you with my floppy disk.
That's where you upload your consciousness to become Scarlett Johansson.
Right.
So yeah,
I
can't tell what that is. Yeah, I mean, I haven't actually seen these things. I should go visit them just to see, because it's kind of like a conspiracy theorist mecca. Like every true conspiracy theorist goes there. I still haven't gone there, so maybe next time I'm driving back through Atlanta to Tennessee, I'll stop by the Georgia Guidestones.
ACR meetup.
Yeah, that'd be a cool place to do a meetup.
Sure.
Then we'll be true conspiracy theorists.
Yeah. We'll
It's stone.
Georgia kind of sucks, though. I mean, I don't really like Georgia.
It's the American Stonehenge for conspiracy theorists.
It is.
Dude, if you're in Florida, then you're not too far away from it.
No.
Start a new festival.
I have to drive up.
Stoned at the Stones.
All right. Well, since Randy's just joining us, and since Tristan joined late, and we've got a lot of listeners trickling in,
we've got 330 nerds over here.
Yeah. All right. And the nerds that are trickling in over there at the J Dyer YouTube channel. Welcome to the show. This is Boiler Room, 225th edition of Boiler Room, broadcasting live at alternatecurrentradio.com, Spreaker.com, and simulcasting at the J Dyer YouTube channel. I'm your host, Hesher. That's my call sign over here at ACR. I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Spore. We got Tristan Haggard of Primal Edge Health, Randy J, famous from this show, The Boiler Room, and Jay Dyer tonight for this episode. And for those of you that joined us late, we kicked off talking about the new generation of our Congress, people like AOC, who have never seen a garbage disposal before. And that kind of took us off into a long bird walk here about where we're headed with society, the mindset of the youth now, and how we've all been affected by the globalist death cult, the green religion death cult. I don't know, Spore. What do you think? What else am I missing as far as summaries for those just joining us tonight?
No, you touched it all. I think pretty much there. Yeah, I think you touched it all. I know people are curious about our thoughts about the Colorado shooting, and
the event.
I'm not gonna say, Jay. I'm not gonna like give any theories on this.
No
or
S
anything.
words. No S words. The event.
All I want to say
The
is
event.
that I feel personally like these events have happened so often and repeatedly in different and bizarre ways that I'm becoming numb to them. That's all I want to say about it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's something to discuss.
Isn't that the point?
Well,
That's exactly it, Tristan.
yeah, and
That's exactly it.
I said this to you guys in our shared chat before the show. It's and for new listeners, like these are the kind of events that used to be something that we would go really deep on. I mean, between Alternate Current Radio and 21 Wire, especially Sean Helton. Sean Helton is an amazing researcher, and Sean and Jay and myself and Randy and Spore and a number of other people that have been regular Boiler Roomers. We have done a lot of digging on these things. Even the event that happened back in San Bernardino, I mean, 21 Wire's reporting on that was insane. I mean, they had an investigative reporter on the ground who was knocking on doors and combing the neighborhoods where this event happened. And I mean, it's nuts. It is absolutely crazy, the amount of research and interest that we've put into these things. And we've always taken a very common sense sort of look at it. You know, we've never tried to overblow it, overhype it, or underhype it. We've always just been interested in the media response, the political response, and the policy responses to these events. And we were talking about it in a back chat the other night, and I hate that this is my thought now after all these years, because I think we've done collectively some great analysis and research on these things. But I told some of our friends the other night, if the goal of the media and who or whatever is behind this, whether it's, you know, and then there's a whole spectrum of this when I say this, but if the goal, especially by the media, was to tenderize all of us, even the deepest of researchers, tinfoil hat wearers, common sense wishers, Bill of Rights believers, into a mental pulp to a point where none of this even interests us anymore, well, bravo, congratulations, it has worked. And these situations at this point, in my opinion, can mean anything and everything to anyone and whatever their worldview is on this. So I hate that this is the situation. I hate that our Bill of Rights is under attack. I hate that there's so much mental strife and discord and ambivalence and strife over it. But it seems to be the situation that we're in now, and we're in an even dumber situation now because we're dealing with whole classifications of people that don't know how to open a can or know what a garbage disposal is. And I hate to come full circle with something that seems so trite. Spore looks like she has something she wants to add to this.
So Busta in the chat says, so y'all telling me that psyops like this can no longer be discussed on Boiler Room? And that's not what we're saying.
No.
We're saying we're not digging into that right now. And these events, like, they seriously need to be looked at, like, with a microscope.
Hey, can I say something? I'm not trying to be rude. Could we do it where on my channel when I'm live we don't, and then everybody who wants to get deep and dirty, they can.
Dude, totally.
They can
That's
go over
exactly
to the
what I was
live
gonna
stream.
say, Jay.
They can go to the live stream with you guys, which I'll leave the link if they want to do that.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I was going to say, is that they do deserve to be looked at, but we're not going to do it tonight on this show. Like, this is not something that's going to be going over YouTube, and it's not something that we're going to discuss lightly and frivolently, like, on a regular Boiler Room right now, because there are people that do really dig into this stuff, and there's a lot of things to be looked at, and, you know, maybe we'll have a special on it at some point, but it's not going to happen tonight or on your live stream.
Yeah, and you know, the other thing, like, Busta, I totally understand what you're saying there in the chat, and I mean, look back at Boiler Room 212. Go into the archives, and you'll see that we are doing our best to do this. And on our Spreaker platform, I gotta, you know, tip my hat to Spreaker, because they have never threatened to deplatform us. They've never, you know, as far as I know, done anything that you could expect to happen out there in Google and YouTube. I mean, it really sucks that the Silicon Valley overlords are doing what they're doing and forcing people to sort of self-censor. But luckily for us, we have Spreaker, and if any new listeners haven't checked that out, go back into the archives. I mean, we have listeners right now that have gone back to episode 1 and are going from episode 1 and catching up to where we are now, and those folks will find that we've done extensive stuff on this. I mean, Jay joined me and I think it was me and Sean back at the event that happened in Las Vegas. And I mean, you remember that one, Jay? We had a crazy episode on that. Like, we were like had the microscope out.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's just the atmosphere since Trump has forced everyone into this difficult situation to where, you know, everybody's kind of figuring out on a daily basis what can and can't be talked about, and it's not. I can't do anything about it. There's nothing I can do, and I didn't at the time. I didn't expect that my channel would grow to the degree that it has, and once it does grow to that degree, it becomes something that, like it or not, you're kind of stuck in a situation where you want to, you know, keep that platform. You don't want to be deplatformed, because whether we like it or not, deplatforming does damage people's ability to reach people, and they know it does, and it is what it is. So
Yeah.
there are, as you're pointing out, there are still the means by which, if people want to go to sites, you know, alternatecurrentradio.com, and they want to have that kind of discussion where it's not going to be leveled against somebody to try to ruin them, you can still do that. You can still get around it by going to, you know, websites and people's private audio files that they upload, and people can talk about whatever they want to. But it's just become a situation where now that, you know, we make our living from this kind of stuff, there's a lot of stuff that, you know, you could talk about 3 years ago that you just can't anymore, and there's nothing that we can do about it because we're not tech.
You really can't talk about anything anymore, right? Like, we really, I mean, as far as the algorithm goes, any major event, if you start talking about it, you're going to be heavily flagged, censored, maybe even removed.
Right. And
You guys are bringing up the exact reason I offed myself, so to speak, with Twitter, and I just literally, like, non-compliance. Like, I'm not going to be in it. I understand it. I get it. I totally get it for. I think everybody else on this call, you guys have other. You know, I'm just Citizen X out there, but if you're running YouTube channels, or you got maybe a product or shows you put on, and etc., I totally get it.
Yeah, I have a lot more invested,
and
so right.
It sucks. It sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, again, I'm not trying to. It's y'all's show. I know that. I'm not trying to take it over, but I'm just saying, anybody, you guys can stream all night long as long as you want to, you know, on ACR and talk about things with a lot more freedom. So, Spore, I wasn't trying to be a jerk. I'm not trying to cut you off. I just don't want to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude, I totally 100% understand, and I'm 100% with you there. I feel like, I think that the good thing or a good idea might be to, kind of go through some of our previous episodes where we actually, kind of dug into these special events and send them to all of our Patreons as, a special, but something that it's just not, we don't want you to risk your listenership and your YouTube, so I wasn't trying to even dig into this thing. I feel like it's got a special place and it's not here. It's not right now.
Yeah, and we're just trying to acknowledge to the listeners here because there's always a lot of new listeners, and we just want you folks to know across platforms that we're not trying to self-censor. I mean, we are sitting on a razor's edge where it's like we're trying to figure out how to not have to go get day jobs, and still be able to do what we do and provide the sort of content that we provide. And we're now having to split conversations like in Boiler Room 212, where Sean and I go back and we look at one of the events from over a year ago now that was pivotal. That was absolutely pivotal. And if you go back through our archives, you'll see that this is something we've been engaged in throughout the history of Boiler Room, and it's not something we're shy about. But at the same time, we're in a new paradigm now where we are simulcasting on YouTube with our colleague here, Mr. Dyer, and we have to respect the fact that like Tristan just pointed out, it's not just this topic. People talk about medical tyranny in certain ways, and the algorithm shuts them down. People talk about what happened in September of 2001, and the algorithm shuts them down. And furthermore, it's even worse than that. We're now in a situation where big name broadcasters, like him, hate him, think he's a shill or not, like Alex Jones, are having to employ high expense, high class lawyers for expressing opinions over events that happened, 7 years ago. So, that is the kind of thing that would shut us down. And we've got listeners in here in our chat room right now who have done their own fantastic investigations on that and have public presentations on that, and they know exactly what I'm talking about. So, and it's one of the reasons we like Spreaker so much, and we hope that Spreaker continues to remain a fully free speech platform because they've been real good to us in that regard.
Yeah, and it's not like we're ignoring these subjects. We think they're really important, but we have to figure out ways to get the word out in ways that are not going to be, damaging to other, our colleagues' reputations. And if that means, special shows on our Patreon, that's what it's going to be. But it's not going to be, we're not going to take down, have anything to do with, Jay's channel being taken down from YouTube, because we're talking about things that are, not publicly accepted or accepted YouTube.
Yeah.
So what's we got another topic we want to talk about?
Yeah, let's move on. I think we've made our point there, and I hope people understand the situation, and I know that any other broadcasters would understand. Yeah, so what's next on the docket tonight?
I'd like to ask Tristan a question because I listened to his full interview with Plant-Based News.
Plant-Based News?
I thought you handled that very well. You were super tactful, and you actually seemed to kind of get through to that guy. I'm just wondering, have you noticed the pattern that I noticed with AOC that we talked about early on in this episode of Boiler Room, that these people they're all kind of in the same mindset of the green cult? I know that's kind of cliche, but
yes.
Do you notice them all kind of thinking in the same ways? I think you pointed it out with, vegan gains, talking about, guys, I got my vasectomy. It's something everyone should do. It's really great.
Yeah. Yeah. And then a durian rider, hey, get a vasectomy, mate. Get a vasectomy. Vegan diet, vasectomy. Too many kids, mate. Carb the fuck up.
Get your
vasectomy. Yeah, it's crazy. So, and it gets really annoying when you hit that wall because you know how thick that wall is and how well reinforced it's been in their mind.
Right.
I think, all right, so my generation, I'm 32 years old, right? Like I'm 32. I'm millennial. My brother, 6 years younger than me, I'd say like the kids that are in their mid 20s and early 20s right now, they've had such a harsher brainwashing regime.
That's what I'm
these
realizing.
ideas. They've had years. So I don't know how old Klaus is. He seems like he may be like 30 years old or so. I don't know. It's really sad to see how these people, they want to do good. They want to save the world. They want to fix everything. They inherently feel that there are problems in the world. They know that something's up, but there's just that genuine desire to help people and to be good or do what's righteous. It gets twisted, and it gets immediately capitalized on by these little cults, and the green cult is major. He was saying, and I didn't want to get into this too much because I was already, everything he said, I was kind of coming hard at him. And listening back to it, his mic was lower than mine too, which makes it just seem like I'm, steamrolling him. But he said that he was at the march for, what was it? The march for the global march for climate, global climate tax march, or whatever the hell those kids were screaming about in the streets and in the UK the other day. He was there, and he was taking part in that. So these people, there's a huge intersectionality between veganism, feminism, climate alarmism, and these other facets of pushing this, basically depopulation. They all feed into the depopulation.
Was it Gregor that was at that? Somebody was speaking at that? Who was the speaker that you mentioned? One of these speakers at that event.
Oh, well, no, I had a clip of Gregor from 2002 at like just some random anti-capitalist event. And he was there.
That's what it was. Trying
to draw vegans into, or, anti-capitalist, like anarchists and Antifa type people, trying to draw them into the animal rights movement. And he said, he was speaking to mostly an animal rights group, but he said, this is what we've been waiting for our whole life. Globalization, corporate globalization is the way that we are going to make veganism go mainstream and unite with feminism and unite with all the other social justice movements. And there's a clip from him in 2002, and he's very clear about his intention and his recognition of veganism as just one leg or one squid arm of this giant hydra that is push for depopulation, globalization, and just total crazy nonsense, degeneracy, disguised as enlightened advocacy for the planet, and this and that. But really, it's like you're buying Oreos to save the fucking planet if you're a vegan. It's like, oh, vegan. There's vegan Oreos now.
I thought that was funny. Yeah, you were talking about how it's the pushing of basically plant-based junk food. That was brilliant. Yeah.
What's sad is this guy works for, so the guy that owns part of his company, Klaus, is a super nice guy. He's a YouTuber, like normal guy, works his ass off, works for pennies like anyone on YouTube, and he's been making content, and he got somebody to buy into his company, and that somebody was Prince Khalid bin al-Walid. Prince Khalid. bin al-Walid bin Talal is like his father's name, I guess. And Prince al-Walid, his father, is like a literal Bond villain. He owns a yacht that he sold to Donald Trump that was used in one of the Bond films.
No way. Are you serious?
As the Bond villain's like pussy lair or whatever. I don't know. And so Prince Khalid owns part of Memphis Meats, which grows lab-grown meat. And his father, you could watch these clips from remember in mid-90s, late 90s, E-Television and MTV would do these lifestyles of the rich and fabulous.
Yeah,
and look at these amazing, MTV There's Cribs. This clip on YouTube, I forget what the video is called, but it's hilarious. And it's just, oh, look at this lavish lifestyle lived by one of the richest princes in the world, Prince Khalid. And so, I mean, it's really sad. That's the guy who bought into plant-based news. So it just shows how cheap YouTubers can be bought off. They get some investor, maybe puffs them up a little bit. I'm not saying that this is all that Klaus is just, a cheap hoe for Prince Khalid. He's obviously a nice guy. He came on my show and he showed real, humility and humanity talking, and he had a great conversation with me. But it did, and I did tell him this. I said, this just shows how cheap these YouTubers are. Like, they buy you for pennies. This guy also owns part of Memphis Meats, which is growing lab-grown meat. Bill Gates is another investor. This guy's probably heavily invested in projects like Neom and all this other transhumanist stuff through KBW Ventures.
Mm-hmm.
And he's basically one of the richest men in the world's son, running his trust on behalf of his papa and consolidating resources on behalf of these beautiful, enlightened Saudi royals.
So was he on MTV Cribs, or was he on Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous?
Oh man, I've played the clip and I didn't get demonetized for it. I'm gonna find it. It's basically like Lifestyles of the Rich and Fabulous, and it goes through all the richest, most spoiled kids in the world, and it talks about Prince Khalid and all his cars. He's got like 50 Benzes by the time he's 16.
Right.
And this is the guy who's gonna make the lab-grown meat Beyond Burgers to save the planet from climate change. His father has a palace full of hunted animal carcasses, or not carcasses, but trophy animals. He's got lions' heads all over his wall, and kudu, and all these rare animals from Africa all over his house. It's ridiculous.
What happened to
Dude,
Harambe?
I'm looking at that house.
Dude, his father, Prince Khalid's father, Prince, I think it's Bin Al Walid bin Talal or some crazy name like that. He has an article that's in Forbes or Business Insider, some semi-fake legitimate organization like that. And he, in this article, talks about him throwing midgets for fun, tossing midgets for fun.
Right. That's what we're
and it
talking
also
about.
talks about him, his former servant says that he used to throw $100 bills in the fire. She'd be like, go get it, you fucking midgets. Like, jump in there and get it. Throw $100 bills into fires and telling his little servants to jump in there. So it's the most decadent, depraved people in the world.
That's what they're
pushing this green agenda.
They're known for that, like the way that they have fun. Other YouTube people have talked about the things that they like to do with Instagram thoughts. They will pay the
those are scary.
Yeah, they pay the Instagram thoughts like $10,000 to get pooped on. These kinds of things.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
Look, it's so stressful saving the world. It's so fucking stressful. Like you gotta just take a load off every once in a while. Like, drop into your torture chamber, dump a load on some Instagram thoughts face, and you feel a little bit better about what you're doing.
Yeah, fly some Instagram influencers out to Saudi.
Like, we don't have to judge. Let's not judge.
Yep, exactly. And of course, Saudi Arabia here. Let's not forget, folks. Just like April 23rd or so, there was reports of the most recent executions. 37 people executed out there in Saudi Arabia. Some of them crucified, some of them strung up on bridges, their corpses strung up on bridges. Just gruesome death penalty stuff.
I just want to say I'm a huge fan of Prince Khalid. It's all good, Prince Khalid. It's all good,
Saving
man.
the planet.
Saving my own ass right now.
Yeah, I know, man. And I've noticed in the on the social feeds a whole bunch of vegans who don't even like vegetables, living on that kind of junk food, living on Beyond Meat, super stoked about Taco Bell's fake meat, soy-based, laboratory meat food, non-meat food. And they're all super excited.
Take my 30-day challenge. Here's my 30-day challenge. All boiler rumors. Every 3 days, for 30 days, search meat and then click on the news results under Google and see what the top promoted news stories are every 3 days. If you just type in the word meat, you will be very, very surprised to find it's basically all just fake meat press releases. How amazing fake meat, saving the world. Forbes magazine every other day publishing shit about it. The Economist, all these mainstream publications, they love it. It's all fake meat.
Yeah, and you'll see all the vegans out there super excited about the stock market all of a sudden. And the stock market this last few days took a massive hit. It was down like 500 points because of this stuff between Trump and China lately. But all of a sudden,
dude, the future is obviously plant-based meat, bro. Like,
Beyond Meat,
Beyond Ink.
Beyond skyrockets, and all of a sudden these people that don't even know how to spell NASDAQ are super excited. I even saw one of them saying, finally, the mainstream media is looking at it. I'm like, what are you fucking talking about? Exactly what you just said there, Tristan. Like, it's in the algorithm. It's all over the place. Saudi rich people, Bill Gates, all these bazillionaires are making all this money off this thing. It's absolutely
No, dude, this is truly grassroots. Did you hear? Beyonce and Jay-Z are going to give free lifetime passes to all their concerts to a lucky fan who turns vegan. So, I mean, we have all the legitimate artists in the world that are backing this. They understand. They're empaths. Artists get it.
God. Get this. All right, check this out. On a tangent on this, but also an update from last week. Last week's icebreaker, Randy J. I don't know if you got to hear last week's show, but last week's icebreaker, Spore brought us a related topic to this, and it was about a study coming out of some university in Australia about how they're going to make sausages made out of maggots. That's the headline there. So, sustainable maggot sausages, basically, to feed the plebeians because cow farts are ruining the earth or something like that. So one of our intrepid listeners, Sunbell, out there in the chat, she did some more research on this, and this is crazy. I love our listeners because they take this crazy stuff that we find in our feeds and they dig into it. And here's what Sunbell reported back after listening to last week's show. She said, the strange thing about the maggot eating is that first, they aren't really maggots because they don't eat decaying meat. They're talking about black fly larvae. We buy these for our daughter's bearded dragon. She has a pet lizard. That's what the bearded dragon eats. They're much more expensive by weight compared to meat like steak or chicken. They're labor intensive to produce because you have to make sure they're fed safe items. Ours eat carrot pieces and then pick through them so the little lizard doesn't get any of the larva waste while eating the larva. They cost $4 to $6 for 200 little worms that fill a tiny container. It lasts the lizard a long time, but it would be a fortune to feed this to a person. This is not only a stupid, degrading idea to feed people bugs, but the numbers don't add up at all. So
it's so ridiculous. You know what's so crazy? I got a friend who got really good at creating black soldier flies. He was basically farming them, but it's not to eat. You know what it's for? It's to feed them to chickens, to get the omega-3 to the omega-6 ratio right, and to give them nutrient-dense foods. Chickens love eating bugs. They love eating meat. And you can just have a few backyard chickens, and if you're feeding them right, you can have a constant supply of eggs. And if you want to hatch them, you can start getting meat and harvest them for meat too. But, I mean, it's so ridiculous. And the amount of work he had to put into getting this, supply chain to work right. It works in his little microclimate, in his environment, the way he's doing it now. He's got the supplies, and he knows how to do it. But to push that to the commercial level and then process that into an edible food for human beings is so ridiculous. There's so much energy going into that. Whereas, growing them medium scale in your yard to feed chickens with is something that's doable to somebody who has some experience and know-how and real desire to kind of be self-sustained. So it's so twisted how they talk about sustainability, and all of their sustainability stuff is all about removing people's ability to self-sustain and making you absolutely dependent on processed food, junk food, and all this crap. So I mean, people have no desire to even make their own foods anymore. People have no desire for that whatsoever because they've been told that it's something that hillbillies do, right? Anybody from the South has been demonized. There's just a bunch of idiot hicks and hillbillies that want to farm and get involved in the production of their food. There's no money in it. Everybody wants to become a doctor or a lawyer, just feed the system. So all the high-paying jobs have basically created this whole class of people that looks down upon peasantry, looks down upon people who want to work on the land and be outside, and sees them as subhuman slobs. It's really backwards. The feeding people bugs is really ridiculous. It's so sad.
That was a great rant, by the way. I'm not being sarcastic. I mean, serious.
Well, thanks for shouting out my show the other day, too. That was a good one with Klaus. I'm glad you saw it. It was a fun one.
Yes, I watched your material, bro.
Yeah.
But I have to say that checking out, I got lost in yacht world. Checking out Prince Khalid's yacht, it's a $300 million yacht with that seats that houses 32 guests and has 16 or 30 cabins, excuse me. And he tops Trump's yacht, which Trump once bought a $200 million yacht from Jamal Khashoggi, the nephew of Adnan Khashoggi, the famous arms dealer. And I have to say, I think Prince Khalid has topped Trump on that one, because that little bitty dinghy of a yacht that Trump has, it looks like it could be swimming around in the pool inside Prince Khalid's yacht.
Oh my God!
Bought that yacht
So
from
I
Trump.
have to say,
it.
Tristan, you're right. If one of these was used as a Bond villain yacht, dude, it's gonna be Prince Khalid's yacht for sure. Wow.
Well, Prince Khalid bought Trump's yacht that Trump couldn't afford to have anymore at the time, and then got a better yacht. And that's like his spare yacht now.
It's his dinghy.
Oh, that's the dinghy that's when the main yacht is sinking, you hop onto the little yacht that is Trump's yacht to get away.
The lifeboat. It's the lifeboat for his mega yacht.
My yacht has a lifeboat that's a yacht.
When he's trying to act like he's slumming it with his multi-billionaire friends, he uses the other one. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Dude, you know what? If you guys worked hard, you guys could make that much money too. You wouldn't be such haters. You know, you should have invested in Bitcoin in 2009 and just worked really hard, and you could be as rich as Adnan Khashoggi.
I know, right? Yeah.
And,
Robert Taylor unsubscribed, by the way. Whatever the last joke we made about Robert Taylor, he unsubscribed after that joke. When he was like, bro, you didn't get enough Bitcoin. You're just jealous because of my Bitcoin. Well, I guess, yeah. So now Robert Taylor can ride around on his Adnan Khashoggi yacht, and he can flip me off from the ocean, I guess, because I didn't get no Bitcoin,
Dude,
bro.
you just don't understand how good it feels to be rich, Jay. You have never experienced it, and these people know. You're just jealous. You want a taste. Buy some Bitcoin, bro.
Oh, Tristan, by the way, somebody had a good point in the chat, which I think we brought up the first time we did a stream, is somebody says, hey, do you remember in Blade Runner 2049 at the beginning, they're farming bugs to feed everybody? Remember that?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, man. That's a huge, and it's a horrific scene too. And it's totally dehumanized. It's all mechanized. There's like one guy, there's nobody else around, and he's just sweeping up grubs into a bag or something. It's a horrific shot.
The quote unquote guy's a robot, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, he's
android replicant,
he's
whatever.
Right.
And then that opening shot too, with all those, like, just to the horizon, off into the haze, all those solar panel things, like as far as the eye could see on the film, on the way when they were like
I like how they
flying
did
in
the wall too. The ocean it's just wall meets ocean. There's no beach. There's nobody hanging out at the beach. It's just disgusting black water.
I never thought of it, Tristan, but I guess that implication there is that it rose, so you had to put it there. Maybe.
Right, the rising sea, of course. Goodbye, beach. Goodbye, beach. Let's all eat bugs. Unreal.
Lifestyles of the rich and famous.
That's right. Speaking of the rich and famous, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry are going to choose an unusual name for the baby that unifies the U.S. and the U.K.
Luciferia.
Here's some of our Creative Accidents sent me this. This is some of the best Twitter responses to that. That was actually put out on Twitter by Daily Express. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry to choose unusual name for baby that unifies the U.S. and the U.K. Here's one. Teabag McYankee Face. And then we got another one. War crimes. That's a good one. That unifies the U.S. and U.K.
Liberty
Jimmy
Mason.
Savile Jr.
Yeah, good one, Randy. What was yours, Tristan?
Jimmy Savile Jr.
There you go. Here's one from GOP Tape. Desert Stormy Daniels. Hular says Cambridge Analytica. So I love seeing people just get ravaged on Twitter for this stuff. It's just hilarious.
We do have some super chats. We're
All right, let's hit them.
approaching that second hour here, so let me see what we got. The first one is AI Howard, $5. Hey Jay, Joe Rogan is talking to Jamie Metzel on his show tonight. He is a member of the Atlantic Council. Thought that might pique your interest. Well, that is interesting. Chris Starkey, £2. Hi, Spore, Hesher, and Jay. First time watching live for me. Welcome.
All right, awesome.
Stephen David, $9.99. Cheers, Boiler Room Gang. Jay, you got a shout out from Owen an hour in on episode 515. I think the time's right to push for a Boiler Room crossover. Thank you, Hesher, Spore, and everyone. Well, I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to, there was open doors for a long time and nobody ever reached out. So,
yeah, we reached out to Owen a couple times. We featured him on Sunday Wire, and Sport let him know on one of his social medias, and he hasn't gotten back to us. But yeah, that's cool. Glad to hear he's somewhat aware.
Boney M, $2. That interview with the New Zealand guy was epic. Yeah, I did go back on Vinny's show, and I guess epic is one word you could use. I'm Vinny Eastwood. Yeah, I'm manic. I'm crazy. I'm a narcissist. Let me tell you about my narcissism for the next 30 minutes of the interview. Yeah, it's not the best Vinny, but I'm not. I haven't been listening to Vinny for a long time, so
it's decent. It's decent.
It's okay.
Vinny used to listen to us, or at least he used to send trolls to listen to us.
It's pretty good, man. I think it was good.
So you could say it was epic. He did go into his narcissism bit again, which is fine with me. I'll just kind of let him go with it. Thank you for listening or watching. Lawrence Ballanag, $2. Jay, great chill session with Clayton. Thank you. That interesting chat did turn out better than I expected. I thought we were going to have another disaster on our hands, which we've had a few of those in the past. But thank you, Lawrence. I appreciate that you enjoyed it. The next one is Lawrence Driggs, $20. Thank you, Lawrence. Big fat super chat. Much love to you, Jay Hester and Spore. I just wanted to send a little honey your way. Thank you for all that you do. Well, we will take those honey mammons and we will smear them all over ourselves.
Yeah, thanks.
Jeffrey Hunt, $1.90, which is funny because you remember that picture that I put up about one of my videos, and it was Monica Bellucci, and she was kind of licking some honey on her face. And it was funny, the comment that Patrick had. Patrick was like, yeah, that image wasn't really appropriate. And I was like, why? And he said, because of, what it's implying. And I was like, I guess it's a little, I was just supposed to be eye catching, and it's honey. And he was like, oh, honey, is that what that's supposed to be? I was like, oh, now I see what you meant. And I honestly, I kid you not, I honestly did not think about that Monica Bellucci image in that way. And after Patrick said that, I went back and I thought, yeah, I guess that is kind of, oops. I didn't even think about it. It was, and I swear I didn't even think about it that way. I just thought it was like, oh, here's Monica Bellucci's face, and she's making she's got honey all over her face, and I just thought it was a weird picture. Because I've been putting up weird boiler room pictures. I didn't think about it that way. Anyway, so honest truth there. So, Jeffrey Hunt, $1.99. Jay, do you know Gabe Martini? We have chatted over the years on Facebook. We haven't chatted in a long time, but I don't have anything bad to say about Gabe. I've always, as far as I know, he's always said some cool stuff, wrote some cool articles. So I hope Gabe's doing well. But we haven't talked in a long time. Thoughts on Cy Ten Brugenkata? Yeah, I think that guy's a strange guy. Don't think he's that good at debate, but that's my personal take on him. John Valdez, $10. I hear Notre Dame is going to be turned into a self-sufficient eco-temple. I don't doubt you at all, and I wouldn't be surprised. They're going to start doing that everywhere. This is for everywhere. It's not going to be just one city or just one company or just one university. This is for everywhere.
Is that the globalist model for the one world religion right there? Just sort of this amorphous, like Unitarian sort of.
Yeah,
thing?
I mean, it's definitely going to be. They want to go in that direction. How successful that will be is we'll see, but probably they've been saying, and I was kind of shocked that, I guess I shouldn't be shocked, but yeah, they're saying, oh, we're going to rebuild Notre Dame into like this, new agey eco thing.
Right.
And they probably will. So let's see. William Kane, thank you, William, $5. He says, Jay, as Orthodox, I know we don't see time the same as the pagan model, but does it not seem that history is circular and cyclical via the Kali Yuga? Yeah, I think we can definitely see parallels between, say, Spengler and his view of history and Daniel. Daniel, if you read the book of Daniel very closely, I have a talk on Daniel, William. He notices patterns in history. So definitely, if you look at Daniel and the Maccabees, you'll see those patterns. So it's certainly not the same as the Hindu conception of Kali Yuga, but I definitely think there's something to Kali Yuga, no doubt.
Yeah, we kind of hit that in the beginning of the show, too.
Yeah, with the
whole,
ends of
where
civilizations, right, kind of decaying. That's a Spenglerian idea. Existence 86, $5. Hey, Jay, did you notice that the series depicted building architecture? The series depicted building architecture and the Hellraiser series depicted architecture and even spacecrafts utilized as giant puzzle boxes or demon cages. Is this technological magic? Yes, that's kind of where you probably asked that question before we kind of moved in that direction, but that's exactly where we went with it. Existence, correct?
Absolutely, dude. Remember in episode 2, they had the Dr. Chenard character who was like the master Cenobite of the labyrinth, and he had this like sort of H.R. Giger-ish sort of phallical looking thing attached to his head with like a buzz saw in it that like scrambles his brain and connects him to this floating monolith above the puzzle-ish looking labyrinth. I mean, he's right. It's totally crazy.
I'll have to go back and rewatch part 2 because I don't remember the relationship between 2 and 1.
Dude,
Lawrence Ballard,
that character's crazy.
Okay. And by the way, it's also like From Beyond a little bit too. The same idea there when the science, which is a goofy version of Lovecraft, when the scientist creates that machine that can tap into spiritual forces. And anyway, Lawrence Ballanag, $2. Thank you, Lawrence. Appreciate that. Jethro Toll, $4.99. I went to see the Georgia Guidestones this summer, and other people were in amazement and awe. I was like, have you read these? Exactly, right?
Yeah.
Oh, they're so cool. Oh, they're like telling me that I need to die.
Oh, yeah. If only we could have only 500,000 people on the whole planet.
They want me to die. It's so cool. John Allen, $1. John Allen, also $1. Thank you, John. Much appreciated. Glad that you could. He said he's newly hipped to our work and Tristan. So welcome, John Allen. We're glad you're welcome to the Nerd Corner, to the Boiler Room Social Rejects, and what's the name of the Primal Edge followers? Do they have a
Let's go with tag? Meatards for now, I guess.
Meatards. Welcome to the
Primates.
The Primates. The Meatard Social Reject Nerds.
Trans-vegan primates.
There you go. $20 from Luna. Wow, Luna, thank you very much. She didn't say anything, but she sent us $20, and that's very much appreciated. So that's
Luna rocks.
The super chat so far.
All right, awesome. Thanks, nerds.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very cool. All right. Well, what else? Let's go to Jay and Tristan. What do you guys got going coming up in the upcoming weeks? What can people look forward to?
I've got a bunch of streams lined up for the next few weeks, but I haven't scheduled them for the actual days yet because I've got a few projects I'm working on this week that have kept everything kind of up in the air as far as what time I have available. But got some good streams coming. I'm gonna be talking to some other vegan promoters and stuff, some like big influencers from the vegan world, kind of trying to build some more bridges and have an ongoing conversation like I had with Klaus and some of these other people. Maybe have this guy called Goji Man on in the next few weeks. I'm going to have just the same stuff, just more and more of it, more awesome streams, more awesome content.
Dude.
And the next couple weeks are going to be pretty cool. I think next week might be a little slow, but the week after that, I've got just interview after interview stacked up and good streams coming. Jay's going to come on soon. Jay, what was the stream idea you had? Snowpiercer and What was that other film?
I've already forgot what we said.
12 Monkeys.
Yes, 12 Monkeys would be perfect for your channel. Exactly. By the way, because they're radical PETA vegan activists in 12 Monkeys. So it's totally perfect. Yes. By the way, one of my favorite movies, great Terry Gilliam movie. You're going to have the Goji man that once threatened to sue you.
Exactly. Yeah. I have to say, this is the thing. I have all these people on. These people, they hate me. They think I'm terrible, but I'm trying to build bridges. I'm trying to build. That's
awesome. Yeah.
I'm trying to have real conversations with these people, and I think it's really important that we build bridges to these other communities. Yeah, I make fun of all these vegans all the time, but I want to have real conversations with them. So I have people like Klaus on. I had some laughs about Klaus long before he came on. He was a sport. We had a nice conversation. So yeah, he did threaten to sue me. He threatened to remove my channel. But yeah, Goji Man's gonna come on. We'll have a nice chat, and no hard feelings towards Goji Man.
Dude, Jay mentioned it earlier, but Spore and I have been watching your stuff too. We're a little bit behind, but we just watched the one with the banana guy. What was it? Oh, Durian Rider. Yeah. And I love the approach that you're taking, and I think it's important to point out what you're doing there. Like you are on your channel, you're pointing out like when strife happens between, different groups, and you pointed out like, hey, these people are trying to brigade, like you've got vegan activists that are trying to brigade, trying to flag, people's accounts, trying to flag your account. And I love the way you're very measured about it, and you encourage your audience to not do that kind of stuff and to respect people's opinions, and if you want to make fun of them, that's fine. You guys want to have a laugh, that's great, but let's have a conversation and let's be realistic about, not doing this brigading stuff, not playing into this crap where we're all flagging each other's accounts because we don't like one another. And it leads to some interesting conversations, and we enjoyed the Durian Rider one. And
thanks. You know what's funny? My last stream was actually age restricted and demonetized.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, my last stream with Klaus, it was age restricted because they've mass flagged it. Then it was reviewed by YouTube, and it was reviewed during the broadcast, still age restricted. I contacted YouTube creator support, and they reviewed it again for me so kindly, and it's still restricted. Wow. So age restricted.
Yeah, see, and this gets back to, the conversation we were having earlier about, like, why can't we talk about certain events when we're streaming on YouTube? And it's like, that's exactly why, because we're dealing with people that are brigading and flagging and even fake accounts that are doing the same kind of stuff. And, I really appreciate the way you're approaching it. I'm sorry you got demonetized and flagged on that, but it's a good example.
Dude, it sucks because only boomers can watch it now. They're age restricted into over 75 years old. It's only boomers allowed.
Unreal.
Well, I had since last Boiler Room, we talked about Avengers. I had an interesting debate with Paul Williams, who is a former Christian turned Muslim. A lot of people.
Oh, I enjoyed that. We saw that too. That was really good.
Yeah, a lot of people enjoyed that.
Great. Yeah, you did a great job there, Jay.
Thanks. That was a new territory for me. I've not had that kind of a debate, and that was arranged by other people. See, a lot of people. Let me address some of the haters this week. So a lot of people are saying, "Oh, you're arranging these debates with people that are easy to defeat to make." No, I'm not arranging these debates. Other people are arranging these debates, and typically I agree to them because I can't find people who will come on and debate. I don't understand how Tristan is able to get these people on to debates. He's very tactful. Nobody will come on and debate typically, and there's always an open floor unless you're a complete lunatic at my channel. I let people on. So. Then I was on with, what was that, guys? Joe Roop from Fringe Radio. We had a 2-hour talk about Hollywood and conspiracies. That one went up. And then let's address the boomers who were mad about me putting up the Wikiphase video. So about 40 boomers, I guess, downvoted my Wikiphase live recording because I don't know why. So first of all, as Boiler Room people know, long-timers, If you're new to Jay's Analysis, we have since the beginning interviewed artists. We were interviewing comic book artists a long time ago. I interviewed an actress a long time ago who was like trained Shakespearean actress, long time ago. There's always been that element to Jay's Analysis, even if for several months I get, really into talking about, I don't know, movies, or really into talking about, theological topics, or I'm, really focused on, Hollywood Decoded or whatever. There's always been a diverse element of what we talked about, and I've always interacted with musicians as well. So that was not, a lot of people were like, what the heck is this? And it got, immediately 40 thumbs down, which I just was kind of surprised about. I was like, what are you mad at? And some people were like, oh, what is this Wicca phase? Are you into witchcraft now? Which kind of pissed me off because no, we had a lot of interesting chats, and there was nothing to do with witchcraft in our chats. So he's a young guy. He chose that name as his kind of marketing thing for the music that he does. Nobody was involved in witchcraft. When I went to his backstage thing to hang out, people were playing on their phones and talking about philosophy, and not a single drug was done. No cocaine-fueled orgies or rituals going on. Nothing at all. So it was the world of what actually goes on is quite often different than the world that people in their mind have in the YouTube conspiracy realm. So please don't be offended by the fact that I uploaded a video of me hanging out with Wicca Phase. Then I did not a real debate yesterday with a guy who was talking a bunch of smack, and people got mad about that because they thought I was picking somebody who was just easy to beat in a debate. No, he was talking smack, and I let him come on the channel. So the last two videos that people were angry about, that's the explanation. No need to be angry. No need to be bothered by these videos and that content.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, it's always been a diverse spectrum of topics.
Dude, you've been interviewing, metal guys. Radiant Creators has had CEOs on. Boiler Room has had special Boiler Rooms with individuals. Patrick has when he was trying to get an interview with KRS-One one time, and Patrick's had Atari Teenage Death Riot girl on. Remember that?
Yeah.
The thing is, Jay, if you ever talk to somebody and are nice to them, that means you endorse every single belief that they
and
have.
You're part of their occult
they've ever done or said on the internet. You're responsible for that as well.
And you're part of
I don't know if you understand internet rules.
Yeah, you're also in their same secret society occult network automatically.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing, if you can just stop and open your mind for a minute and kind of look at the spectrum. Geez, we've had card-carrying socialists on. We've had Jewish people that are highly critical of Israel. We've had McAfee on, a presidential candidate and a highly controversial person.
Right.
Trans vegans.
Yeah, I know. We had all kinds of stuff on, and that's one of the things that I think sets us apart and our colleagues apart from a lot of the little echo chambers.
Don't forget Dugan. Don't forget Dugan. I'm a KGB.
Oh yeah, Dugan.
KGB agent because I talked to Dugan.
Yeah, so you must be a Russian agent, and then we've been CIA before because we've talked to former, intelligence people and GCHQ people over at UK Column. The whole thing we're trying to do here, if listeners haven't noticed yet, is we're trying to have as much of an open dialogue as we can and have a diverse group of thinkers, and we'll do musicians, we'll do philosophers, theologians, whatever. We don't all have to agree. And the funny thing is people complain about shows or networks being echo chambers. On the one hand, it's like, oh, you're just all an echo chamber.
Right.
And then if you try to do something largely diverse, like what we're doing here, all of a sudden we're the worst aspects of all the diverse groups that we try to talk to and give a voice to. So it's you just can't win with these audiences.
I know, man. Yeah. And by the way, I want to say I am a big I'm very thankful to Wicca because he has long time supported Jay's analysis. He's shouted out my book. He's got a pretty large social media following, and he's promoted my book. So yeah, I'm going to be nice to somebody who's been cool like that. And he's just always been a super chill, nice guy. And the same is true of other people of that same kind of ilk. Sean Stone's always been really cool. Never done anything. We don't agree on everything, but so what? I mean, like you said, I mean, you guys have had a really diverse group of guests over the years on Boiler Room, shows that you've done, shows that Patrick's done. And again, Patrick has had quite a few, surprising musicians on that was interesting. I was like, I remember in high school, the Atari Teenage Riot, and then I turn into 21 Wire one day, and Patrick's got her on. I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So what's wrong with that? Why does anybody think that's weird? Why would you not want cross pollination and, as the Zoomers say, the greatest anime crossovers of all time? Why would you not want that?
Exactly, man. Definitely.
And
Well,
did you guys get to talk about how much Game of Thrones still sucks, or did you bypass that topic yet?
we bypassed it. Well, mostly because Spore and I don't watch it, so we just don't know.
Oh, you guys don't even watch it? Yeah. Okay. You're not missing out.
I do, although I've only seen the first episode of the new season. I haven't seen the last 3 or 4 episodes. Is it not any good?
Well, I mean, you watch it. I mean, it just seems like the writing is completely fallen out from under the feet of the production team. It's just really bad writing. They don't tie up any of the loose threads. They had some really cool loose threads set up in a few of the seasons. They all fall flat. Nothing happens. All the character arcs end up. I don't like it. But there were a few good scenes in some of the episodes. Maybe some good battle scenes and stuff. But overall, I think it's just very, very bad. It's just crazy. People waited 2 years for this and were so excited. They're so convinced it was so great. Yeah. Whereas like 2 seasons ago, I was kind of over it. I thought they had already dropped the ball. But we'll see. Maybe they'll recover it and they'll figure something out in 2 episodes.
Do you you follow that a lot, Tristan? Like average, above average, hardcore, or Game of Thrones?
I've watched all the episodes.
I find it interesting. Then you said 2 seasons ago you sort of started to fall a little flat or trail off a little bit, because that's the time that the television series started to outpace the books. So they got all the sort of the depth or the layered characters and everything like that for, I want to say, seasons 1 through 5 from the author. And then,
my wife read all those books and she told me basically the same. Yeah. I guess after Jon Snow's resurrection or whatever, Jon Snow's death, that's where the last book left off, just a few seasons ago.
Oh wow! Okay,
I mean, there's just I don't know.
I still think they tanked it. If you got like all these rooms with all these creative geniuses in there, I still think because I am into this series, but not so much anymore. I can't agree with you more. In fact, maybe even more emphatically, I think they're tanking the whole damn thing. They're going to make people forget how bad the last couple seasons of Lost was. Finally, Lost is like, yay, the albatross is not around our neck anymore.
I just think it's funny that people wait 2 years for these shitty episodes. It's terrible. They had 2 years to write this, 2 years to shoot this, and they couldn't come up with something half entertaining. Some of it's entertaining, but it's just none of it's satisfying the way they finish off these storylines.
Well, speaking of that, stuff that we should do, Tristan, Jethro Tull sent another super chat for $5, and he says, "How about you do Terry Gilliam's Brazil and 12 Monkeys, Jay?" Yeah, actually, that's what we had been talking about, Jethro, is that Tristan and I were going to do a 12 Monkeys analysis because it would be so pertinent to his channel, with the PETA vegan connection that he was highlighting the other day. And definitely I must admit, I have been slack on analyzing Terry Gilliam. I did do Time Bandits. It did make it into Esoteric Hollywood too, but yes, I do.
He's pretty
I do
good.
need
He
to.
does some good stuff. He has some good films.
Yeah, Brazil, 12
I can't-
Monkeys, Time
I
Bandits.
can't name one I don't like. I don't know, I think I like most
I
of
even
them.
like Baron Munchausen. That's a good. That's one of Uma Thurman's first movies, actually.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
It's pretty philosophical.
Brazil it's kind of long. I think it's got a long run time on it, but it's pretty good. It's kind of like 1984 with some humor.
It's super Gnostic, and it's I mean, not in a terrible way, but it does deserve analysis. It's just.
I used to have it on DVD. I used to have it on. They had a good DVD with some extra features. I forget what it was called. There were some series that used to make DVDs back in the day when people cared about DVDs. I used to have that one.
Aaron and Melissa did a written analysis of Zero Theorem that I posted back when I was doing the old Jay's analysis, and so they did a good analysis of the movie, which was his last film that I didn't think was that good. I thought Zero Theorem was it was interesting, worth of analysis, but I came away feeling that it was kind of Gnostic, like in an atheistic way.
Film? Heath Ledger's last
Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus. It was okay. It hinted at a lot of conspiracy.
It's also very Gnostic, very Luciferian.
I mean, it had a lot of conspiracy stuff going on. It was even kind of hinting at the pedo stuff in Hollywood.
Yes, and a lot of Freemasonic ritual stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Good film, again.
Quick thing on Gilliam, I just looked up his IMDb filmography. So this may be a newer thing. It's announced, so I guess it's in the works. But Time Bandits, the TV series, I guess, is on the
No way.
future. Yeah.
Wow, that would be hard to adapt. I'm curious to see how that's going to go.
Yeah, I'm a little skeptical of that one, but we'll see.
Jay, have you already done Snowpiercer? Did you already make a video?
Yeah,
about that?
it made it into Esoteric Hollywood too.
Okay, because I still haven't seen that. I've got that downloaded already. Someone told me that that's a good one to do as well.
I think it was a really interesting, and perfect for Jason. But it has a love-hate thing. People either love it or they hate it. I thought it was perfect. Conspiracy. Really.
Are there people being fed bugs or something in there? The lower class are eating bugs?
Yeah, there's all the sustainability stuff is in there. Absolutely. Let's see. He did Fear and Loathing, which is interesting. I forgot he did that. Brothers Grimm. Actually, Brothers Grimm has some esoteric stuff in it too.
What did you think about Fear and Loathing, Jay?
It's okay.
Because there's some interesting stuff in there. The adrenochrome stuff. You know, he's like, I got it from a Satanist, man. That's in the book too. Hunter Thompson actually put all those details in his book about buying adrenochrome from Satanists, and there was some child trafficking stuff that was very prominent in the book and the film. And people just gloss it over and they act like Hunter was this, wonderful person. He's a really interesting character as far as 90s, early 2000s. His behavior later on was pretty fascinating.
Yes, I read several of his things. He is interesting. I don't know if there's a conspiracy, about his death because he mentioned 9/11 right before he died.
Yeah, there's some people say that he perhaps was killed. He called, the last thing he said to one of his friends was, "They're gonna make it look like an accident. They're gonna make it look like an accident. They're gonna fucking do it. They're gonna fucking take me out."
Yep, that's how he talks. Looks like there was a Terry Gilliam movie last year. I didn't know that. It was called "The Man Who Killed Don Quixote," and it looks like it has mediocre reviews. So I have to check that one out.
That might mean it was a great movie.
That's true. That's a good point. Anyway.
Hey, let me break in for a moment. I didn't do this in the beginning of the show, but I want to give a shout out to our patrons over at patreon.com. And I want to thank Mark and Gordon and the rest of the patrons this week. Thank you for hanging with us and for turning up the juice there, Mark, and joining us, Gordon. We really appreciate that. And via the Alternate Current Radio tip jar, I want to thank Glassmaster, Jolene, Fletcher, Peter, Andrew, and James. Thank you very much. And anyone out there that wants to support us, you can find our PayPal address at alternatecurrentradio.com/donate. There's also a link there to our Patreon account, and we really appreciate those of you that have joined over there at Patreon and tipped via PayPal. And if you're a regular PayPal tipper, there's a new email address associated with our account, so please update your address book. And thank you, all of you folks, as well as over there in the Jay Dyer YouTube with the nerds. Really appreciate all the super chatters also. So thank you for supporting Alternate Current Radio and the Boiler Room. And of course, you can support us also by buying your copy of Esoteric Hollywood. There's links to where you can do that at the Jay's Analysis site on every Boiler Room show page. And of course, also Primal Edge. You can support Boiler Room, Alternate Current Radio, and Primal Edge by grabbing your copies of their awesome cookbooks over there at Primal Edge Health. And tonight, Spore made something sort of monumental out of the cookbook, right, Spore?
I did, yes. I made beef heart.
Spore is now
meatballs.
Captain Beefheart in the
Yes,
kitchen.
beef heart.
Beef farts? How do you get bees to fart?
Well, it's a complicated process, my friend.
No, it's beef heart, Tristan.
Beef fart? That sounds.
Like
That does not
say
sound
beef
sustainable. Beef farts?
I like to slur it together so it sounds like beef fart.
How were they? Were they good?
They were really good.
They were excellent.
I will have to say, to be perfectly frank, that was one of the gnarliest preparations I've ever had in the kitchen. It was kind of gory and scary.
But the final product was delectable.
They really were. And we are, Hesher and I have been totally diving into the carnivore cookbook. We've taken, gone through a course with you and your...
Hello.
Hey, are you guys back?
Well, we lost Spore there. But by the way, to my audience, I will answer a couple questions there during the dead air. Yes, I do need to get to Alphaville, and I do plan to get to Tarkovsky. I apologize. I know for years people have said, why are you not doing Stalker? Why are you not doing Tarkovsky? I promise I will. We will get to that soon. And to the other question about Aronofsky, I've done 2 Aronofsky analyses. You can find my Noah analysis, and you can find my analysis of The Fountain. I think my Fountain analysis is really good. So anyway, hello? I don't know what happened to the Boiler Room, but they disappeared.
Yeah, I'm still here.
So it's me and Tristan.
Yeah.
Me and
I
Tristan
can
and
hear
Randy
you
did
too.
a show. Mark Beaumont,
Could you guys hear me?
$10. Thank you, Mark Beaumont, for that. I can hear you.
J.
Yes, Randy, I can hear you.
Yeah, we got you, Randy.
Okay, all right. Sorry.
We just seem to have lost our other people, so I don't know. Anyway, it's getting kind of late for me, so yeah, you can go to Jay's analysis. You can find those writings are still there. South Park's Deconstruction of Hollywood Propaganda, Troy Sims, $2. Thank you. I didn't know South Park did that, but they do comment on a lot of things, so I'll check that out. Tristan, thank you for joining me on this Boiler Room. Sorry I missed you.
Yeah,
Boiler
man.
Room guys.
Nice talking, Jay.
Yeah.
Thanks for shouting out the channel, man. I'm glad you liked the Klaus interview. That was,
Yeah, it was
fun.
fun.
That was actually last minute. I had a whole stream planned, and I still haven't even done this stream yet. I had it all planned out, and then Klaus was in another stream in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
And I called him out, like, dude, why don't you come on my show and talk? You're always talking shit in the comments. And he took me up on it. So he came on and we talked. So it was a last minute stream with him. It was epic. I like when those, kind of, they happen out of the blue like that. It's always funner.
Right.
Hey, can you guys just know?
Yeah, you're back. Lady Wheatfield, $5. She sent a picture to me on Twitter. I did see that, lady. Thank you. Of Cricket protein bars that are going into the local grocery stores. Yep, exactly. Have you seen these, Tristan? This push for the bug-based stuff everywhere.
I know a few people who actually have tried bugs and they've used like crickets to make bread with, stuff like that. Some of these low-carb people have tried some really interesting stuff. I'm not there on the wanting to eat bugs just because there's no point for me.
No, but it's
In my
being
local
pushed.
area,
It's
it's
being
not.
pushed by the global elite.
Absolutely, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's like they want to dehumanize you and feed you the most low quality protein sources that you can think of. That's what you eat if you have nothing else as a protein source, right? Like just total depleted.
Right.
Then you start looking at bugs to eat. I mean, these are like starvation type things. That's what they want to feed you.
Right.
They want to feed you corn husk. They want to grind up corn husk and put freaking white sugar on it and feed it to you with some, what is it? Fetal cell line from a aborted fetus in your what do you call that? Artificial sweetener. Yeah. So it's just the most abject, disgusting foods that people don't want to eat. They want to feed that to you, and you will think it's the greatest thing to ever happen to the planet. You're saving the planet.
Right.
Yeah.
You're literally
fly
saving
larva while you're at it.
All right, cool. Everybody check out Alternate Current Radio. I got to go. I'm getting pretty tired, but thank you guys. It's been a great show.
All right, peace out, Jay. Sorry about the audio.
No, it's okay.
thing.
Are you guys going to keep going?
Drums.
Can people go to Alternate Current Radio, or are you guys done for the night?
No, we're going to keep going. Everybody can come on over to alternatecurrentradio.com. Just click play on the Spreaker player on the side there next to the chat room.
I'm gonna put the link in my chat before we go, so that if people want to continue, with you guys doing your audio, they can go on over here. Here's the link, everybody in the chat. You can continue to Alternate Current Radio. Yep. But I'm going to call it a night, and thank you guys for having me on.
All right. Thanks, Jay. We'll see you next week.
All right. God bless everybody. Later.